somebody asked, when do you feel like I'm going to print or commit something in Pro Tools? And I think this varies a lot with what role you're in, but from talking to you and from just making more records, I try to print and commit way more than I used to. I try not to leave things. I mean, this is really, in the old school engineer sense, that's what engineering used to be. Before really there was even such a thing as a mix engineer. It's like you get the sound, you get the compressor and the EQ and the mic is on the right thing, and you capture the sound, and then it's recorded and that's it. So you're mixing as part of the engineering, as the capturing. And I think we got away from that when all of a sudden you could put layers of plugins and a whole chain on things as you're producing and leave things to the last minute. But I think that idea of having all the crayons in the box can be limiting. And I think it's really nice to be able to print things. And certainly you do that when you're mixing. You have everything rendered, and then you're mixing from printed, committed stems or individual things.
Sometimes I think about sending a deliverable back to a label or a producer, and I'm seeing my session with almost no plugins on sometimes, because a lot of times I'll do plugin processing into the VLCs. So I'm hitting a tube stage but after plugins. So it would look like I didn't do anything to the sound. I'd be like, what do we hire this guy for? You know, there's nothing on it. But like, if you look at the hidden and inactive plugins, if I left them in the session, which I don't, I just send a clean.
When you send it, you'll send it.
When I send it, I just send a clean save copy of all the active stuff. Sometimes there's a lot of sounds that have nothing on it, but like you wouldn't know that I committed to here. But I do that really fast. I'll clamp down on a limiter or a clipper, and I'll EQ, and then I'll hit the tubes after it. Then I might EQ again after the tubes, depending on if it's just a little too much of the sauce that I'm going for. And then that's it. You know, maybe an additive boost in Spectre after the fact. So maybe that's only thing on the plug on the chain is Spectre, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the move. I commit all the time. Like I do it on vocals really quickly. Because I don't go hard on analog compression, for example, or anything. Does this make it a little bit better? Cool, commit it.
Yeah.
And then like work from that new version of the sound. I don't really, I like committing. I also come from that time where I used to mix as I was tracking, and the performer, whether it was a guitar player, singer, drummer, or whatever, would be in the live room, and I'd be tweaking the sound through loudspeakers as if I was mixing it while I was recording it. And we got to do that. And that presents itself in the instinctual response to a mix as well, where I'm sitting there, I hear a sound, I'm in solo mode, or I mute a bunch of things, and I'm just shaping things into the mix with it all playing and not soloing one. Like we talk about this all the time, I never make a decision with something soloed. And not even if it's some like really sensitive fix thing. You can see that with Pro Q3 now. With any analyzer, you can see the super spiky shit that you're like noticing. So I don't need to solo it to hear that as much as you maybe needed to back in the day. So I think the committing is a whole philosophy on what it means to performatively mix something and instinctually mix something.
Yeah, and just save as.
Yeah.
Just save as.
And always duplicate a sound and always duplicate a playlist. You should always be able to go back to something that you had before.
Yeah, you just, in Pro Tools, you do the commit, and then you click the option, hide and make inactive instead of delete or something like that. And you have it in there if you want to reference it, but just commit things. It just streamlines the decision making too. You just have fewer things to manipulate. If you don't have a large plugin chain, you just have the sound. You have fewer things to think about. I believe it makes me more precise. It's also, we talked about this with delays and reverbs and things like that. I've started printing those more because, again, you're not then manipulating it. It's just you have the reverb sound. You don't have the plugin to play with. Just the reverb sound. So you can mute things, you can automate things. But I think working more in audio it's just good for work.
Oh yeah, committed reverbs are great for actually understanding the tells and where things should let go, and not letting it all be a one size fits all. Like, oh wait, maybe the verse needs to come down here, not with an automation move necessarily. Maybe it's a filtering move, and you're just seeing it differently and hearing it differently. I love seeing big audio files.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. There's no Patreon. We don't read ads. We don't have sponsors. We're just trying to build a knowledge base. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks so much.